Access your free language gifts right now before they expire. Here's what you're getting this month. First, the 24-hour survival phrases PDF cheat sheet. Do you know enough of the language to survive for 24 hours? If not, then this survival phrases cheat sheet will help you get by. Second, the How Are You and How to Answer It writing workbook. With this printable PDF, you'll learn all the ways to ask and answer the question, how are you? And you'll be able to practice writing the phrases out as well. Download it for free right now. Third, 30 music words for beginners. Learn how to say song, lyrics, melody, and much more with this quick 1-minute lesson. Fourth, can you talk about roads in your target language? Learn how to say road, highway, crosswalk, and much more with this quick vocab bonus. Fifth, must know Father's Day vocabulary. Can you say Father's Day in your target language? You'll be able to with this quick 1-minute vocabulary lesson. Sixth, free language learning audiobooks. Want free access to our huge library of beginner-level audiobooks? Then click the link below. Save the audiobooks to your device and listen and learn. They're yours to keep forever. And finally, the deal of the month. If you want to finally master the language with lessons by real teachers and our complete language learning program, get 31% off all Premium or Premium Plus plans with the Pretty Big Deal sale. To get your gifts and language learning resources, click the link in the description below. Download them right now before they expire. Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alicia, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. Okay. Let's get to your first question this week. First question this week comes from Desamis Wilgens. Hello, Desamis. Desamis says, hi, Alicia. I'd like to know the difference between important for and important to. Okay, nice question. Let's begin with 2 examples. Passing this test is important for me. Passing this test is important to me. So what is the difference here? The difference is that when we use for, we're often talking about some kind of expectation of value. In this case, a test. So the expectation of value comes from somewhere outside us, society, or like our boss, our parents, our coworkers, management, whatever. There's some kind of value for that thing that we're talking about, and thus we want to express that. Like someone said this would be good for me, or I'm going to get some benefit from this thing. So we use for in that case, as in the first example here. Passing this test is important for me. I'm going to get some benefit. It's going to be valuable for me. When we use to, however, it's more like we're sharing our personal opinion, like there's some kind of maybe emotional attachment, or we personally feel that it's important to us, yes, but maybe there's not like value coming from someone else in our life. Maybe there's not like a societal value there. So passing this test is important to me expresses more of like a personal opinion. We can see something like this in perhaps clearer ways in other example sentences. Like, this shirt is really important to me. My grandmother gave it to me. Or, this restaurant is really important to me. I met my best friend here. So in these example sentences, there's no like societal value on this shirt or on this restaurant, but the speaker has a strong connection to that object or to that place because of some like past experience. So the speaker uses to there. We do not use for in that situation because there's not like a societal value attached to that thing. Some other examples that use for. This promotion is really important for me. I'm making progress in my company. This project is really important for you. You should give your best effort. So in these kinds of situations, we use for to show that there's some other value outside of a person's like individual opinion. So when you want to show that something is important to you personally, use important to. When you want to show that there's like a societal value, or maybe someone is telling you that this thing is important, you can use for to do that. I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Vadim. Hi, Vadim. Vadim says, hi, Alicia. I have a question about prepositions of place. When I speak about my country, I say, I live in Belarus. But if I ask you, I must say, have you ever been to Belarus? Why is it so? And is it possible to ask, have you ever been in country? Thanks. Nice question. Yeah, we use to here because when we're talking about travel and asking questions about travel, we're talking about movement. And so we use to show the direction of movement. When we're talking about the places where we live, we're not talking about movement. We remain in a place. So no, we can't use have you ever been in country. You could use it with like a season maybe or a specific time of year to visit a country, but you can't say have you ever been in Spain because you're talking about movement, you're talking about travel. So this is the reason why you don't need to use it when you talk about the place where you live. So when you're talking about like places where you've moved, like a place where you lived and then you changed residence or you changed house, you need to switch between prepositions. For example, I moved to Canada in 2014. I lived in Toronto for a few years. Then I moved to England. I lived in London for a while. So we need to change our prepositions depending on the verbs we're using. So no, we cannot use in when we're talking about travel. We use in to talk about our residence only. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Thibaud. Hi, Thibaud. Thibaud says, hi, Alicia. I'm not very fluent, and my question is, do you speak more slowly than usual in your videos, or do you use your normal speaking speed? Yes, good question. I do speak a bit slower in these videos, not so slow, but my speaking is very different on this channel, and like I don't really speak in the same way that I do in everyday life. So I'm using easier or less challenging grammar patterns, so I'm not using super complex grammar. I'm using very few idioms, if any at all, and I'm trying to use vocabulary that is kind of good for learners. So I'm trying not to use words that are very like complex or that require a lot of extra knowledge. So yes, the way that I speak on this channel is quite different from the way that I speak in everyday life. I'm also trying to speak very clearly. So that's why when lots of people say like, I can understand you, but I can't understand people on TV, that's because of the way that I speak and the way many other teachers speak on YouTube. We're speaking in a way specifically designed to help people understand and to move up in their language learning. So yes, I am speaking a bit more slowly. If you want to hear examples, though, of what a little bit more natural conversation sounds like, you can check out the English topic series that we have on our channel. I've had some conversations with Michael and with Davey there, and we've talked about a few different parts of like culture in the US, or we've talked a bit about language learning too. So that sounds a little bit more like a natural conversation. Again, we are making, videos for people who are learning English, so it's not exactly natural, and we are speaking slowly, but that's a little bit more like what you might see in everyday life. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Ruben. Hi again, Ruben. Ruben says, what is the difference between won't and wouldn't? For example, our suitcases won't close. There are too many clothes. What does won't mean in this sentence? Yeah, good question. So won't is the reduced form of will not. So will not becomes won't. We use this won't when we're talking about something that's not performing as expected, or there's some kind of problem with its abilities. So we don't use don't or doesn't. Those are present tense things. We use those in simple present tense situations. The reason that we use will not or won't is because we're kind of imagining a future situation. So let's imagine in your example sentence, like we need to pack our suitcases for travel somewhere. There's a lot of stuff in the suitcase. We try once to close the suitcase and we fail. We're like, oh no, I can't close my suitcase. So when we imagine again, we're looking at the suitcase again, we imagine, I already know that suitcase will not close in the future, and I want to report that to someone. I would say the suitcase won't close. So I'm already imagining future me in the future, if I try, it will not work. That's kind of the thought process here. So my suitcase won't close, or our suitcases won't close. That's the reason that we use that will not pattern. Wouldn't comes into play when we're talking about this situation in the past. So maybe I want to describe this happening, but I want to talk about it in the past. Like, last week I was packing my suitcase, but my suitcase wouldn't close. So that means that's a past situation. Now, in the present, I would use won't. My suitcase won't close. So another very common example of something like this is like with computers. Like, my computer won't send this email. There's no internet connection. So it's like I tried and I failed, and I'm reporting this to someone else because I think if I try again, it's going to fail again. So this is kind of the thinking behind using won't here. So again, we don't use doesn't or don't. We use those for simple present tense statements for things relating to like features or abilities. So for example, my computer doesn't have a 4K camera, or my computer doesn't record security footage. So those are simple present tense statements about facts, things that are always true. We're using this won't pattern for something that's like failing now. It's specific to the situation. So this is the reason that we use this won't, and in past tense, wouldn't in cases like these. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Amit Aslan. Hi, Amit. Amit says, what does see eye to eye mean? To see eye to eye means to be able to understand someone or to be able to have an agreement with someone. For example, my manager and I don't see eye to eye. Or, I'm so glad we see eye to eye about this issue. So that means I'm glad that we can understand each other. In the first example sentence, where someone and their manager don't see eye to eye, it means they have trouble understanding each other, or they have trouble agreeing with each other. So to see eye to eye means to agree or to understand someone else. I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, that is everything that I have for this week. Thank you, as always, for sending your questions. Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alicia, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. Okay, let's get to your first question this week. First question this week comes from A. Hi A, the letter A. Okay, A says, hi Alicia, would you please explain the differences among up, on, over, and upon? Sure. So there are lots of different ways of using prepositions, in this case up and on. So I'm just going to talk about the basic uses of these two prepositions in addition to the other words you mentioned. So first let's talk about up and on. When we use up, we're using it in reference to movement, in reference to motion. We're not talking about a position when we're using the word up. So for example, like look up means like move your eyes in an upward direction from something down here to something up here. So we're using up to talk about something moving, or like move your hand up. So we're talking about movement, motion, when we use the preposition up. On the other hand, when we use on, we're referring to a position. So one thing is above another thing. It's like resting above another thing. So for example, like my hand is on my phone, or I'm sitting on a chair. So we're talking about positioning when we use the preposition on. We're talking about movement when we use the preposition up. Now let's talk about over. Again, there are lots of different ways to use over, but perhaps the meaning that's similar to up and on is the one that means to pass across something. So for example, if you have an object and you want to describe something traveling from one side of that object to another side of that object, you would use over to describe this. So for example, I wave my hand over my phone, or he jumped over the fence. So that's in reference to a motion from one side of an object to another side by going across the top of that object. So the last word that you had was the word upon. Upon has the same function as the preposition on, but it sounds much more formal in everyday speech today, and we don't really use this so much. So I could replace on with upon in my previous example sentences, as in like my hand is upon my phone or I'm sitting upon a chair. So those are grammatically correct sentences, but upon sounds quite old-fashioned and we don't really use it in American English very much. So it has the same function, or it can have the same function. It means for one thing to be above another thing, like resting atop another thing. So again, I just used the word atop, which also sounds quite old-fashioned, but it refers to these like two things and their relationship. So this is the thing upon another thing, or atop another thing. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Prashanath. Hello, Prashanath. Prashanath says, what are the meanings of tingling and stinging, and how can I use them? Okay, so we use tingling for what we describe in English as a pins and needles situation. I think I'll show a graphic of some pins and needles, what these are. So these are objects that have very small, like very fine points to them. So when we say that something is tingling, or when we describe what we call this pins and needles sensation, it's usually like our skin feels like it's being touched with lots and lots of pins and needles. So we describe this as a tingling sensation sometimes. So generally a tingling feeling does not cause pain. It doesn't hurt. It's not something that's like really unpleasant. But we would talk about tingling sensations when a part of our body does not have enough blood flow. So in English, we have the expression for a part of the body to fall asleep. So imagine like you're sitting cross-legged, where your legs are crossed, and you're sitting there for a long time, and the blood flow to your leg or to your foot is limited, and the feeling, the sensation gradually goes away, and then suddenly you stand up and you feel that sensation, that tingling sensation, a pins and needles sensation in your foot. We say, my foot fell asleep. So that's the expression we use in English to describe the tingling sensation we feel there. So tingling is not like a painful thing, it's just kind of an odd feeling, an odd sensation. Stinging, on the other hand, is a painful thing. We use stinging to talk about the sensation we feel after we touch chemicals, or maybe after we're injured, like we have a wound. We clean the wound and we feel this awful, kind of painful, almost burning feeling. It's like pins and needles, but much, much stronger. So we describe that as stinging. We can also use it to talk about like maybe reactions to bug bites, or like when a bee or something else stings you. So that's used as a verb there. We can use it to talk about like those very sharp, painful sensations that have that very uncomfortable, very unpleasant pins and needles feeling. So this is a key difference. Tingling isn't really like a painful thing, and sometimes we can experience it like with a food we eat, or maybe we just experience it, I don't know, through an interesting reaction to something, I don't know, maybe an allergic reaction, but it's not like problematic. But stinging, on the other hand, is a painful thing. It's unpleasant. So this is the difference between the two words. A couple of examples. My arm is stinging where that bug bit me. I think I got some chemicals on my hand. It stings. So in the last example sentence, I used stings in the verb form. You can use stinging, or you can use sting to talk about that sensation. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Wesley. Hi, Wesley. Wesley says, how do I train stressed and unstressed phrases? Yeah, nice question. I would suggest shadowing to practice this. So your question for everybody, stressed and unstressed phrases means finding the correct places in phrases and in sentences to place emphasis. So I know this is something lots of learners struggle with, like where should I emphasize in my sentence? What parts should be strong? What parts should be weak? So we call this stress in sentences. So I would recommend using shadowing. So shadowing is a tactic wherein you listen to somebody. So that can mean like you choose a video from our channel, for example. You listen to it, or you watch the video, and you practice repeating the same thing the native speaker said. So by doing this, you're forcing yourself to actually speak in the same way with the same rhythm that the native speaker used. And what I like to recommend a lot, because I know many of you are studying at home alone or without like a formal teacher or a formal partner, you can record yourself as you practice shadowing. So listen to your recording after you make it and compare it to the original native speaker, and listen to the parts that are the same, that are different, so that you can find which parts you need to improve and which parts sound pretty good for you. So I would suggest this strategy for practicing stressed and unstressed parts of sentences and phrases and even in words as well. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Chintan. Hello, Chintan. Chintan says, which is correct, every day or every day? Both are correct. It actually depends on what you want to use. So every day with no space is an adjective. We use it before nouns. We use every day to describe things that we do on a daily basis. So something that is part of our regular routine or something that is very common in our life. We use every day as an adjective to describe that. For example, what are some of your everyday activities? Or, I enjoy my everyday life. So every day with no space is coming before a noun in those cases. On the other hand, every day, this phrase is used to talk about the frequency with which you do something. So for example, I brush my teeth every day, or I shower in the morning every day. So that's a frequency-related phrase. The other one is an adjective that's actually describing the frequency with which you do something, but we don't use it to mean like, I do this thing every day. It's just explaining that it's a common thing that I do or that we do. So every day, no space, adjective. Every day is a phrase that talks about the frequency with which you do an activity. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's go on to your next question. Next question comes from Yasmina. Hi, Yasmina. Yasmina says, how do we use have you and do you to ask questions? Okay, so have you begins a present perfect tense question. When we ask present perfect tense questions, we're asking about general life experience in the past. The specific time at which the action happened is not important here. So for example, have you been to France? Have you finished your homework? Have you eaten lunch? So the specific time is not important there. We're simply asking about the experience, the life experience. On the other hand, do you refers to an action that is happening now or that is true for the listener now. This is a present tense, a simple present tense question. So when you ask this question, you are asking about someone's regular activities in their life now. For example, do you go to the gym every week? Do you watch a lot of TV? Do you like to cook? So these are all simple present tense questions about someone's regular activities. Have you is the beginning of a present perfect tense sentence or present perfect tense question that asks about general life experience in the past at a non-specific point in time. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alicia, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. First question this week comes from Noha. Hi Noha. Noha says, hello, what does to bail mean? It depends on the situation. In everyday casual English, to bail means to leave, as in, this party's boring, let's bail. Or, sorry, I gotta bail, I have to be home soon. So this use of bail is very casual. We use it with our friends, maybe with our coworkers. It just means to leave. There is another meaning of bail, which is much less commonly used in everyday conversation. It means to remove the water from a boat, like a sinking boat. If there's water in the boat, you need to bail out. Usually we say bail out or bail the water out of the boat. So again, this is not an everyday conversation topic, but you may hear this or you may see this in writing or perhaps in a movie somewhere. In general, though, in everyday speech, to bail means to leave. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Vivian. Hi, Vivian. Vivian says, the good thing about having dogs as pets is that they can not only protect our houses, but also be our best friends. Do we need that in this sentence? Why? Thank you very much. Aha. No, you do not need to include that in this sentence. The reason is that in this case, that is acting as the object of your clause. It's acting as the object here. In cases where your relative pronoun acts as the object of the clause, you can omit it. You do not need to include it. So here, the that acts as the object, you can drop it, and the sentence remains the same. So in contrast, you cannot omit it when your relative pronoun acts as the subject of your sentence. If the word that follows your relative pronoun is a verb, that means the relative pronoun is the subject. If the word is not a verb, that means it's the object. So this is a really quick way to test if it's the subject or the object. So if it's the object, you can omit the relative pronoun. So let's take a look at a different example sentence to compare. Having dogs that are protective is good because they can keep your house safe and be your friends. In this sentence, that is followed by are. So having dogs that are protective. In this case, that is the subject. We know this because it's followed by the verb are. So in this case, we cannot remove that. We cannot remove this pronoun because it's part of the subject. It's the subject here. So we cannot omit this. So this is a quick way to test and see, can I remove this that or do I need to keep it there? So I hope that this helps answer your question. Thanks very much. All right, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Sho. Hi, Sho. Sho says, hello, Alicia. I would like to ask you how to use even though, even if, even after or before, and even when. I guess these words have different nuances, and I get confused when I hear them. I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you. Okay, sure. So even, by itself, even means equal. So we can talk about things that are of equal length, and we can describe those things as even. Those are even. So like something is even if the lengths or like the widths or whatever are the same. We also use this when we're talking about like scores in games or when we're talking about money, especially like debts. So for example, the basketball game score is 12-12, even. So that means they have the same score, like the scores match, they're the same. Or when talking about money, you could say something like, I paid for lunch yesterday, so you can pay for lunch today. And then we'll be even, which means like we're equal, we're fine, like everything is exactly as it should be, it's just right. So even by itself has this meaning. Let's compare this then to even though and even if. So we can imagine these as meaning although, or also in the case if, respectively. Some examples. I got a coffee with an old friend even though I was really busy this week. He went shopping even though he had no money. Even if we leave now, we're not going to arrive at the airport on time. We're not going to have enough food even if we order more. So you can think of this as meaning like although for even though, and also in the case if, even if. So you can kind of hear that even if tends to have a sort of negative feel about it. So it's like saying, I'm going to do this or I want to do this, but also in that case, something is not going to be possible. So it has kind of this negative vibe about it in many cases, this negative feel. Similarly, even before or even after or even when sounds like also before or also after or also when. So it has this feeling of also, but maybe we want to emphasize it for some reason. So for example, she didn't have time to meet me even after her big project was finished. We were nervous all day, even before lunch. I didn't study other languages much as a kid, even when I was living in another country. So again, this has the feeling of also before or also after or also when. We want to give some kind of emphasis to that to show like that something is maybe surprising or is shocking or somehow unbelievable. So I hope that this helps you understand the differences between these phrases and the word even. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from MD Al-Mubin. Hello, Al-Mubin. Al-Mubin says, hi Alicia, my question, what is the longest word in the English language? The longest word listed in English dictionaries is Numenultra-microscopic silica volcaniosis. So this relates to a specific lung disease that people can get if they inhale these very small particles, specifically particles that come from a volcano. As you can guess, this word is really not used very much in everyday conversation, except to answer this question. So I don't know when you're going to need to use this word, but that is the longest word in the English dictionary listed in most English dictionaries. A lot of people like to talk about the word anti-disestablishmentarianism, but that is not it. I think that's like number 2 or number 3. But yeah, the longest one is like this very specific lung disease. So there you go. I hope that that helps you. Thanks for the question. Okay, onward to our next question. Next question comes from Murad. Hi, Murad. Murad says, hello, Alicia. I would like to know about the difference between environment and circumstance. Okay, so one's environment can mean your physical surroundings. So that means the things and the people and the places that are around you. So you can have many different environments, like your work environment, your school environment, your home environment, your club environment, whatever. Those refer to like the physical surroundings in those places, and that includes the people. It can include pets, animals, whatever, plants, everything physically around you, and like also the attitudes of the people that are around you. That makes up an environment. So environment in this way can be used to talk about everyday life, like what is the student's home environment like? Or it's important to have a healthy and safe space for kids in their school environment. So environment can mean like your physical surroundings. Another way that environment is commonly used, especially in the news when talking about weather changes and climate changes, is with the definite article, the. So we can use the environment in some sentences to talk about our personal physical surroundings, but when we talk about the planet and nature, we typically use this the environment to mean all of the planet or all of nature. So for example, we need to protect the environment, or it's important to take steps to save the environment. So we always use it with that definite article, the. On the other hand, circumstance refers to a temporary situation or a temporary condition. This does not refer to your physical surroundings. It refers to something that happens usually to you. So it's something that's like short in like duration. So for example, if you're going to work and there's a traffic accident and you're late to work, you could say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm late to work today. I apologize for this circumstance. There was a traffic accident. So you can imagine circumstance means situation. So something that's going to change. It's not like physical surroundings. It's just a situation that you're happening or that you happen to be in now. So we do not use environment and circumstance in the same way. So circumstance is something that's changing, and we tend to use it more in kind of negative situations. Another example that you might hear the word circumstance used is in something like, this is an unusual circumstance. So an unusual circumstance means a strange situation. So if you encounter or you experience something strange, you have a strange situation, you could say, this is an unusual circumstance. So again, meaning it's something that's going to change, but it's happening now. So this is the difference between circumstance and environment. I hope that that helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Welcome to Conversational Phrases. In this lesson, you'll learn conversational phrases to answer the question, what are you good at? After watching this video, you'll be able to talk about what you're good at doing. Now let's take a look at some conversational phrases.
Listen to the dialogue. What are you good at? I'm good at languages.
Listen to it again. What are you good at? What are you good at?
I'm good at languages.
I'm good at languages. First of all, you'll need to learn how to say, "What are you good at?" That's, "What are you good at?" Listen to it again. What are you good at? What are you good at? Now, how do you answer this question? The pattern is
I'm good at.
skill. I'm good at skill. For example, I'm good at languages.
I'm good at languages. I'm good at languages.
Here are a few more phrases you can use with the same pattern to talk about your skills. Languages. 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 Sales. 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 Typing. 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 Video editing. Video editing. Video editing. Video editing. Video editing. Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers. What are you good at? I'm good at sales. What are you good at? What are you good at? I'm good at sales. I'm good at sales. What are you good at? I'm good at typing. What are you good at? What are you good at? I'm good at typing. I'm good at typing. What are you good at? I'm good at video editing. What are you good at? What are you good at? I'm good at video editing. I'm good at video editing. Okay, now it's your turn. Do you remember how to say, "What are you good at?" What are you good at? Imagine you're good at sales. Do you remember how to say sales? Sales. Sales. Say, "I'm good at sales." I'm good at sales. Now, answer the question saying you're good at sales. What are you good at? I'm good at sales. Now, imagine you're good at typing. Do you remember how to say typing? Typing. Typing. Say, "I'm good at typing." I'm good at typing. Now answer the question saying you're good at typing. What are you good at? I'm good at typing. Now imagine you're good at video editing. Do you remember how to say video editing? Video editing. Video editing. Say, "I'm good at video editing." I'm good at video editing. Now answer the question saying you're good at video editing. What are you good at? I'm good at video editing.
How are your English listening skills? First, you'll see an image and hear a question. Next comes a short dialogue. Listen carefully and see if you can answer correctly. We'll show you the answer at the end.
A mother and a son are talking. What did the son do today and in what order? Have you finished your homework?
Yeah, I did it at school.
What about the cleaning?
It's clean, isn't it? I woke up early today and cleaned my room.
Oh, okay, great. Then dinner is ready. Go eat.
Nah, I'm not hungry. I think I'll just skip it.
You just want to go play, don't you? You need to eat dinner first.
Yeah, I got it. So, can I play after I eat?
Sure you can, as long as you're home by dark. What did the son do today and in what order? A mother and a son are talking. What did the son do today and in what order? Have you finished your homework?
Yeah, I did it at school.
What about the cleaning?
It's clean, isn't it? I woke up early today and cleaned my room.
Oh, okay, great. Then dinner is ready. Go eat.
Nah, I'm not hungry. I think I'll just skip it.
You just want to go play, don't you? You need to eat dinner first.
Yeah, I got it. So, can I play after I eat?
Sure you can, as long as you're home by dark.
How are your English listening skills? First, you'll see an image and hear a question. Next comes a short dialogue. Listen carefully and see if you can answer correctly. We'll show you the answer at the end.
A woman is talking to a librarian. What will the woman do next? Excuse me, I'm looking for a medical dictionary.
A medical dictionary. One moment, please. Medical books are on the 4th floor.
The 4th floor? Can you point me in the right direction?
Yes, of course. But just so you know, you can't check out any books from that floor.
Oh, really?
Yes, but we have a copy machine on the 3rd floor if you would like to make copies.
Copies? I have too many things to look up to make copies. It'll take too long.
Oh, all right. Well, there is another library nearby. You can try asking there.
Oh, okay. I'll try looking there. If they don't have it, I'll try a bookstore. Thank you. What will the woman do next? A woman is talking to a librarian. What will the woman do next? Excuse me, I'm looking for a medical dictionary.
A medical dictionary. One moment, please. Medical books are on the 4th floor.
The 4th floor? Can you point me in the right direction?
Yes, of course. But just so you know, you can't check out any books from that floor.
Oh, really?
Yes, but we have a copy machine on the 3rd floor if you would like to make copies.
Copies? I have too many things to look up to make copies. It'll take too long.
Oh, all right. Well, there is another library nearby. You can try asking there.
Oh, okay. I'll try looking there. If they don't have it, I'll try a bookstore. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, we're going to talk about relative clauses and relative pronouns. I'm going to give kind of an introduction to this grammar point and how to use it. There are some more advanced points relating to this grammar, but I'm not going to talk so much about those today. This lesson is going to be an introduction to this grammar and some ways that you can use it, hopefully right away. So let's get started. All right, first of all, what is a relative clause? So relative clause is one of two key points that I want to talk about today. So a relative clause, for grammar, a relative clause is like a phrase or a group of words that's like a long adjective. So remember, we use adjectives to modify nouns. We can think of a relative clause like a long adjective, a group of words, not just one word. So relative clauses like a long adjective. We use relative clauses to give extra information about a noun or a noun phrase. So if you want to give more information, if you want to describe something more deeply, you can use a relative clause to do that. So let's look at one simple example first. Okay, example sentence. So my apartment, which is small, is a little old. So this sentence includes a relative clause. Here, I'm talking about my apartment, but I have a couple of details about my apartment. I have my apartment, which is small. So this is my extra information here. So I'll explain a little later how to find the extra information point. But here is my relative clause. So my apartment, which is small, is a little old. This is the relative clause, the extra information about my apartment. So here, I know one of the reasons that I know that this is my relative clause is because this clause begins with what's called a relative pronoun. Here I've used which in this case. So this is the second point that I want to talk about for this lesson, relative pronouns. So relative pronouns are used at the beginning of a relative clause, as we see here. So here's my relative clause. Here's my relative pronoun at the very beginning. The first space or the first point in the clause is my relative pronoun. So there are some cases where it's okay to drop a relative pronoun, but I'm not going to talk about those in this lesson. I'm just going to focus on making basic sentences with relative pronouns and relative clauses. But in this case, I've used which as my relative pronoun. There are a couple of common ones that we can use. They are who, that, and which. So in this case, I've used which. We can use which and that to refer to objects. So in this case, in my initial example, I used apartment. So apartment is not a person. Apartment is an object. It's something that doesn't move. It's not alive. So I need to use the correct relative pronoun. For today's lesson, we can use that and which to refer to objects. The difference for today's lesson, the difference is that will be used to sound a little bit more casual, which will be used in more formal, I guess, or more polite sounding examples. So here, this sounds like kind of a polite introduction to some features of my apartment. If, however, you are interested in learning a little bit more about relative clauses and when to use that and which, you can check out, you can Google, or if you like, restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. This is one of the key differences between when to use that and when to use which. So if you'd like more information, this is the grammar point that gives more in-depth information about the differences between these two. So, but the other relative pronoun that I want to introduce for today is who, which we use for people. You'll also notice, as I'll talk about later, some people like to use who with pets. It kind of shows that like it's sort of a cute relationship, a familiar relationship. So we can use who sometimes to refer to our pets, like they're members of our family. So it's kind of cute. Okay, so we're going to look at how to use these today. Let's take a look then at some more example sentences and a couple of tips. So each of these sentences uses a relative clause. Let's look at the first example. Here, my teacher, who is from the US, has brown hair. Okay, so here we can find the relative clause. There are a couple different ways to do this. First, by identifying the relative pronoun. In this case, who is the relative pronoun because it's referring to my teacher. So my teacher, that's a person, so I need to choose a relative pronoun that refers to people. We can use that in some kind of casual situations, but for this lesson I want to introduce who as being maybe the best and clearest choice for people. So my teacher, who is from the US, has brown hair. So again, the relative clause is here. So in this lesson, a quick and easy way to find the relative clause is by checking for the commas. So I'm using commas around the relative clauses for this lesson. If you know the more advanced grammar point, that means that these are all non-restrictive clauses. Okay, let's look at another example though. Next one, our office, which is in LA, gets really hot in summer. So again, Just as I did with my first example sentence, I've used the relative pronoun which here. So relative pronoun which begins my clause, and using the commas as a hint, I can find where the clause finishes. So our office, which is in LA, gets really hot in summer. So maybe you can see one of the things that you can do to check to see if you have found the relative clause or not is to remove that part of the sentence from the sentence altogether. So for example, up here, my teacher who is from the US has brown hair. If I remove this part of the sentence, it becomes my teacher has brown hair. The sentence that remains is grammatically correct. So I know, okay, yes, this is the relative clause. It's the extra information. In other words, I don't need this information to make a grammatically correct sentence. We can do the same thing here. Our office, which is in LA, gets really hot in summer. If I remove the relative clause, our office gets really hot in summer. This is a grammatically correct sentence, so I know that I've found the correct spot for the relative clause. All right, let's look at a couple of other examples then. Next one, my neighbors who are really noisy host barbecues every summer. So here I wrote BBQs, but barbecues. So my neighbors, you'll notice though I've got the word neighbors in the plural form, my neighbors, but I've used the singular who. That's okay, actually. So we can use who in this case. It's fine. You'll hear native speakers do it. Don't worry about it. So my neighbors who are really noisy, again, watching for those commas in this case, my neighbors who are really noisy host barbecues every summer. So again, to check that I have the correct information as the relative clause, I can remove it from the sentence. My neighbors host barbecues every summer. It's grammatically correct, so I know that this part is the relative clause. Okay, last one then. The dogs, who are puppies, have a lot of energy. As I talked about over here, sometimes we use the word who for animals, for pets. So in this case, the speaker wants to talk about his or her dogs, and they use who to refer to those dogs. It kind of shows like a friendly or a familiar or like a family relationship. So the dogs, who are puppies, have a lot of energy. So you might hear native speakers doing that. Again, the same rule applies. If we remove the relative clause, the dogs have a lot of energy is a grammatically correct sentence. So this is just a quick introduction to relative clauses, relative pronouns, and how to use them. And as I said, there are some more advanced grammar points that you can check. Those are called restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. If you'd like some more information about when to use which, when to use that, and how to use commas to set off your relative clause as well. So there's a lot of interesting information, and these are just a few patterns that you can use with this grammar. So I hope that it was useful for you. But if you have any questions or if you'd like to try to make an example sentence, please let us know in the comments. Please feel free to do that. Also, if you liked the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good study resources. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again next time. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about adjective order. This is something that native speakers don't really study, but it's something that we kind of know how to do naturally. So I'm going to introduce the order of adjectives for today, but if it's difficult for you to remember this order specifically, don't worry too much about it. A good way to practice this is just by reading and listening and understanding the typical order for adjectives. Also, a good thing to keep in mind about this lesson is that usually we don't have maybe more than 2 or 3 adjectives in one sentence. So in most cases, you don't need to use all of these adjective rules in one sentence. So just keep this in mind the next time you're maybe writing something or the next time you're reading something, that there is a specific order for adjectives. So with that said, let's get into today's lesson. All right, so yes, adjective order. So I've listed from 1 to 9 all these different categories for adjectives. So the closer the adjective is to this side of this scale, to number 1, the earlier it should come in the sentence. The adjectives down here should come last in the sentence, last before the noun that they follow. So let's look at each category first, and then we'll look at some examples for how to use these. Okay, First one is quantity. So quantity means like the number or the quantifier. So this is quite simple, like 2 or 3 or a lot of or a huge amount of, for example. So this is quite simple. So in other words, how much of the thing are you talking about, or how many as well. The second category for adjectives is values or opinions. So these are things that come from the speaker or the person writing. So these are our personal ideas or our personal values of the noun. So some examples of this: great or terrible, kind, friendly, gross. So these are all kind of opinion-based adjectives. These are our own ideas about the adjective. That's second. Third will be size, so adjectives of size. Some examples are big, little, huge, tiny, giant. So how big or how small the adjective is. The next category refers to age. So age, for example, adjectives of age could be old, young, ancient, for example. So these will come after size adjectives. The next one would be shape. So shape doesn't only mean like a square or a triangle, for example, or in the adjective form, triangular. We can also use these shape adjectives in terms of like people's bodies, for example, like fat or skinny. We can also use them to talk about like objects. So it's a round table, for example, or a square table as well. So these are some examples of shape adjectives. Color is pretty clear, I think. So color, for example, blue, green, red, or yellow. The color of the item you are describing is next. The next category is origin. So origin here means where did the noun come from? Where is it from? So for example, Chinese or West African or Thai, for example. The next category, material. So material can mean many different things. In other words, what is the noun made of? What is the noun made of? So we can talk about the material. And finally, number 9 is purpose. The purpose means what is the noun used to do, or why do you need this noun? So what is the purpose of the noun? So as I said, this is not a point. This is not a grammar point or a language point that native speakers study officially, at least to my knowledge. Native speakers don't study this in many schools, but it's something that we learn through practice. So let's take a look at some examples of how these can be applied to make sentences. Okay, first one, my brother. So my noun here is my brother. My brother is a smart, funny American guy. Here I have 3 adjectives in this sentence. My brother is smart, funny, American. So my first 2 adjectives here are smart and funny. So smart and funny, actually, they're both opinion adjectives, like here. These are value or opinion words, smart and funny, my ideas of my brother. So because these words come from the same category, I can use them in any order I choose. Here I've said my brother is a smart, funny American guy. I could say my brother is a funny, smart American guy. That's fine because these adjectives, smart and funny, come from the same category. In these cases, then, we can use a comma to separate the adjectives. So smart and funny, or funny and smart. If you can mix the adjectives, meaning you can change the order of the adjectives, you can separate them with a comma. However, the third adjective I used here is American. So American is an adjective relating to his origin. Where is he from? He's from America, so I use American to refer to his origin. So I can't use a comma here because American as an origin adjective comes after an opinion adjective. So I just need to put the adjective just before the noun in this case. So this is my last adjective in the sentence. I'm not including any like material points about what my brother is made of. I'm not including any sort of purpose information. My last adjective is here, so I don't need to use any comma. So my brother is a smart, funny American guy. 2 opinion adjectives and 1 origin adjective here. Okay, let's look at another example sentence. Here, my neighbor in this case. So my neighbor is a quiet, friendly old man. So again, we see this similar quiet, friendly old man 3 adjective pattern here. Quiet and friendly, again, are opinion words. So I can separate these with a comma, quiet and friendly. However, here I've used old. So old relates to age. So that still means, though, that this adjective needs to come after the opinion adjective. So my neighbor is a quiet, friendly old man is the correct order for these adjectives. Okay, let's change it up a little bit. Your coworker sounds like a thoughtful young woman. Again, I'm using an opinion adjective and an age adjective here. So thoughtful and young are my two adjectives. In this case, I'm using only two adjectives, and I can't change the order of adjectives. It sounds strange if I say, your coworker sounds like a young, thoughtful woman. It sounds strange because young should come after the opinion adjective. So I can't change the order of these two adjectives. They have to be thoughtful first, young second, so I can't use a comma in this case. All right, great. So that's a quick introduction to some very common sentence patterns using adjectives, multiple adjectives. Let's take a look then at phrasal adjectives. So phrasal adjectives are phrases that we use as adjectives. Let's look at some examples. So first, I love the smell of freshly baked bread. Freshly baked bread. Here, bread is my noun, and my phrasal adjective is this part, freshly baked. So what kind of bread do I like? Or rather, what kind of bread do I love the smell of? I love the smell of freshly baked bread. This is my phrasal adjective here. So I can combine two words to make a phrase that acts as an adjective here. So in this case, I'm only using one adjective, one phrasal adjective before the noun, so I don't need to worry so much about the order. But we can use adjectives in this way, phrases as adjectives. Okay, let's look at another one then. He loves Chicago-style pizza. So what kind of pizza? Chicago-style. So here is my phrasal adjective. So I could say he loves fresh Chicago-style pizza, or maybe freshly baked Chicago-style pizza, for example. Okay, let's continue to the next one. It's important to eat a vegetable-rich diet, a vegetable-rich diet. So be careful, diet doesn't necessarily mean a plan to lose weight, but it means your regular eating habits here. Here, my phrasal adjective is vegetable-rich, vegetable-rich. So that means a diet that is rich in vegetables. So rich doesn't mean a lot of money, it means a lot of vegetables, a lot of something. So a vegetable-rich diet. Here, again, only one adjective, but as a phrase, it's used together. These two words are used together. Okay, but another point that I want to talk about is using phrasal adjectives with time expressions, because this is a point that I've noticed many people struggle with. First, let's look at an example. First example, simple, a 2-month-old child. So here, we're describing the age of the child, but we're using months to do it. Even though 2 is used here, because I'm using this expression as a phrase, 2-month-old child, actually, we use the singular form of the time expression here. So in this case, we don't say 2-months-old child. We would not say that. Please use the singular form of the time expression. So I have this as a note here. Singular formations for time expressions, not the plural form. So a 2-month-old child. So this is referring to the age of the child. 2 months is the age of the child. I could say, my child is 2 months old. That's okay. But if I'm using this as a phrasal adjective before the noun, I need to say a 2-month-old child. No S at the end. Let's look at another example. Here I have 4-day business trip. Actually, there are 2 points to talk about here. So 4-day is my time expression. And then I have business here. This is the purpose in this case. So 4-day relates kind of like to age or to time, really. And then business is my purpose. So the purpose of my trip is a business trip. So business functions as an adjective in this case. A 4-day business trip in this case. And again, This day is in the singular form, so not 4 days business trip, but a 4-day business trip. Finally, a 12-hour marketing meeting. So here in this sentence, a 12-hour marketing meeting, we see the same thing as this 4-day business trip. We have this 12-hour phrasal adjective here, and then we have a purpose, the marketing meeting. So marketing is the purpose here. So 12-hour, this is a very long meeting. 12 hours refers to like age or time, and marketing is the purpose of the meeting. So why are we at the meeting? For marketing, in other words. So in each of these, we're using the singular form of the time expression. So please be careful to do that. Okay. That's everything that I want to introduce for this lesson. I know that this is a lot of information, but instead of trying to memorize this, I would recommend just try to be aware when you're reading and when you're listening that there is a natural pattern that native speakers follow. Also, generally, if there's not a communication problem, then it's probably okay. Like, don't worry too much about using the perfect adjective order every time. But if you want to know, if you want to practice, you can use these rules as a guideline. Another thing to keep in mind is that there are some exceptions. There are some expressions that we use out of order. And you will see those from time to time. But for most cases, for most situations, you can follow this rule if you like, and you should have no problem. If you have any questions or if you'd like to try to make a sentence, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. If you like the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good resources. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to introduce 10 common everyday expressions that we use in American English. I'm going to introduce the expression, I'm going to talk about the grammar of the expression, explain the basic meaning, and then introduce some sample responses to the question. So the aim of this lesson, the goal of this lesson, is to give you some natural expressions, some questions, some phrases you can use, and also to help you know some natural ways to respond to these expressions too. So let's get started. Okay, the first expression I want to introduce is this one. How's it going? How's it going? So in quick speech, we say, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? How's it going? The meaning of this is really, how are you? How are you? But we're using this casual expression, how's, how, so meaning how is, and it refers to your life. So how is your life going? Going, so meaning recently, how is your life turning out? Recently, how has your life been? How are you, in other words? How's it going? How are you? So to respond to this question, you can use a very short, simple expression. How's it going? Good. How's it going? Great. How's it going? Not bad. Something quick, short is best for this. I'm good. How are you? That sort of thing is fine. You can return the question. How's it going? Good. How's it going with you? You can say with you if you like. So let's continue to the next expression then. Next one is, how was your weekend? How was your weekend? So this is a past tense question. Therefore, the speaker is asking about last weekend. How was your weekend? However, the pronunciation of this question is different from how I just pronounced it. It's not how was your weekend, but how was your weekend? How was your weekend? How was your weekend? So you can share, again, like we did with how's it going, a quick summary of your weekend, a quick overview of your weekend. So, how was your weekend? All right. Or, how was your weekend? Okay. I didn't do much. Didn't do much also sounds very, very contracted. It sounds very reduced in speech. How was your weekend? Didn't do much. Didn't do much becomes didn't do much. I didn't do much. All right is a nice one. It just means kind of a neutral example. Or how was your weekend? It was great. It was good. You can use a lot of different expressions similar to those we talked about here. So how was your weekend? A past tense question. Okay, now let's go to a future tense question. So up to anything this weekend. Up to anything. So this is like maybe you know the expression, what are you up to? Means what are you doing? So here, up to means doing anything this weekend, question mark. So this question means Do you have any plans for this weekend? Do you have any plans for this weekend? But we say up to anything this weekend in a kind of casual way. The pronunciation then is different. I said up to anything this weekend. The native speaker level pronunciation is up to anything this weekend? Up to anything this weekend? So when you answer this question, up to anything this weekend? Yeah, I'm going skiing with my friends. Or yeah, I'm having a picnic. Or yeah, I'm going for drinks with my coworkers. For no, you can say no, no plans. Or if you want to ask the other person, maybe they have a plan, you can say no, what's up? So you're inviting kind of a plan. You're inviting an invitation here. So up to anything this weekend? No, what are you doing? That's another good way to respond. Okay, on to the next expression. Next one is, do you wanna grab lunch, or do you wanna grab dinner? Do you wanna grab a drink? Here, we're using wanna. Wanna is the reduced form, the contracted sound of want and to together. Do you want to, in other words? So the meaning here, would you like to? This is an invitation sentence. Would you like to, some verb, with me? So with me is included here, but it's implied in the sentence. We don't need to say, do you want to grab dinner? Do you want to grab a drink? Do you want to grab lunch with me? We can drop with me. It's understood from the context. So, would you like to do something with me? This is a more formal way of asking this question. Also, when you're speaking, these parts come together. So not do you wanna grab lunch, but do you wanna? Do you wanna? You wanna grab lunch with me? Do you wanna get dinner with me? I changed it now to do you wanna get in that case too. So you might hear get. Here in the original sentence, I used grab. Grab sounds like taking something quickly with your hand. To grab something, like to grab this marker quickly. It sounds very casual. You can change the verb to get if you like, meaning to get something, like to receive something kind of, but to go out and get that thing. So, do you want to get lunch with me? Do you want to get a drink? That's a much better pronunciation. Okay, so to respond to this, you can accept with sure, sounds good, or just sounds good, or just sure, that's fine too. If not, you can say I can't, like I can't, I have to work, I can't, I have to study, or sorry, I'm tired. You could use that expression as well. So you can accept or reject if you like. All right, let's go on to the next one. Next expression, how'd event go? So event here is something that the speaker knows you were planning to do. So how'd the birthday party go? How'd the meeting go? How'd the barbecue go? Here, you'll see I'm using the apostrophe D at the end of how. So in speech, how did is reduced to how'd. How'd the barbecue go? How'd the meeting go? How'd your birthday party go, for example? So how did sounds like how'd in fast speech. How'd the meeting go? So it means how was that event? How did something go? So we're using the verb go here, but it's just asking how was it? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it effective? Was it exciting? So think about a simple past tense response about this event. Some examples. It went well. It went well. So here you see I'm using past tense went because the original question uses go. How did the event go? This is a nice match. It went well. It went good. It went okay, for example. Here I have it went okay. You can change the nuance. You can change the feeling of your response by changing the way you say okay. It went okay. It went okay. It sounds a little bit different. So think about your intonation. Think about the sound of your voice when you respond to this question. All right, on to the next one. This is one many people seem to struggle with. This question, what have you been up to lately? So here we see up to, again, we talked about up here, up to anything, doing anything. But the grammar here sometimes creates confusion. What have you been up to lately? So this v is what have you been up to lately? this sentence means, in other words, what kind of things have you been doing lately? So lately means recently, since I last saw you, since the previous time we met, for example. What did you do, in other words? So in the recent time period, what have you been doing? In speech, however, we don't say, what have you been up to lately? We say, what have you been up to lately? What have you been up to lately? So this part, what have you been, comes together. What have you been up to lately? What have you been up to lately? So try to use that pronunciation to sound more natural. What have you been up to becomes very, very short. What have you been up to lately? Okay, how to answer this question? To answer this, you can use the word just to emphasize that it's nothing big. It's just a simple thing, no big deal. Just working is fine. Just studying is fine too. Or just not much as well is fine too. Not much, been busy too. So a simple, quick answer with an activity or maybe with an adjective is good. So what have you been up to lately? Just working. That's fine. So think about your recent activities when you reply to this question. All right, let's go on to the next question then. So the next one is, what do you think about some topic, some issue here? So you can use this in casual situations and in work situations to ask someone's opinion about something. What do you think about? So what is your opinion of something? However, in speech, this part, the beginning part, what do you think? This part becomes a bit more reduced. It becomes kind of contracted, shorter in speech. So not what do you think about blah, 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 but what do you think about? What do you think about this movie? What do you think about Thai food for lunch? What do you think about the policy, for example? What do you think? What do you think? Also, a good pronunciation point, as always, is that TH sound. What do you think? Think. So work on that TH. What do you think about something? Okay, how to answer this question then? What do you think about something? So you can include in your answer, I think, before introducing your opinion. So I think it's good, or I think it's a nice idea, or I think it's bad, for example. Of course, you can drop it as well. In a more casual situation, I think native speakers probably will drop this. So, what do you think about Thai food for lunch? It's okay. Or what do you think about this movie? It seems boring. So here I've got it's as my sample. But you can, of course, change this. I just said it seems boring. It seems boring. So that's quite different from it's. This is like an adjective pattern. It's okay. It's not bad, for example. But you can always change this to just share your opinion. But you can preface that. You can introduce I think before your expression as well. Okay, on to the next one. Let's look at this. I gotta head out. I gotta head out. This gotta, this might be a little confusing. I gotta, this refers to I have got to, or I have to leave. So head out here. Head out is a casual way to say leave or depart. I gotta head out means I have to leave. I have to leave. I've got to leave. So I gotta head out sounds like I gotta head out very quickly. I gotta head out. I gotta head out. Or we can say I have to leave. I have to leave. Here though, the ending of the half word and the beginning of this t sound kind of connect. I have to leave. I have to leave. This O sound in the to is a very quick sound too. I have to. So it's like I have to leave. If you want to write it, it might look something like this. I have to leave. H-A-F-T-A maybe. So I have to leave, or I gotta head out. These are very quick sounds. So practice making those. I gotta head out, I have to leave. So how do you respond if someone says this to you, your coworker, your colleague? Just say, okay, see you, that's fine. Or maybe, catch you later, catch you later. I'll talk about this in just a moment. So, okay, see you, or okay, bye, or catch you later. So in other words, some farewell, some parting expression is good to use here. All right, let's go on to the next one. Have a good night. Have a good night. So you'll notice not good night always, but have a good night. This is a nice, like friendly and yet polite way to say goodbye to someone in the evening or maybe after work. Have a good night, or maybe have a nice evening is good too. Have a good night. So this means I hope you have a good night. So it's a nice expression. But again, the pronunciation here, not have a good night, but have a good night, have a good night. So you can hear these parts, the end of good and the beginning of night seem to connect a little bit. Have a good night, have a good night. So not have a good night. It's quite difficult to say, but have a good night sounds much better. So how do we respond to this? We can just say, thanks, you too. So have a good night, thanks, you too. That's a really nice way to respond. If you just say, yeah, I will, it sounds a little self-centered. It sounds a little too focused on you, on the speaker. So thanks, you too is a friendly way to return this sentiment, this idea. Okay, let's go on to the last one I said I would explain. This one is catch you later. Catch you later. This means I will see you later. So you imagine in the future you are going to see the other person later. But we use this casual catch. It doesn't mean catch like a ball to catch someone, but catch as in like I will be in the same place as you at another time is like why we use catch. It's like we're together again. Kind of like catching a ball, but it's like you're catching a person and their time with you, perhaps. We can think of it that way. Anyway, catch you later. Again, the pronunciation reduces here. So not catch you later, but catch you later, catch you later. So you can hear this you becomes ya. Catch ya later, catch you later, catch ya. So these parts connect too. Catch ya later, catch you later. How do you respond? Yeah, see you. That's fine here. Just agree. Okay, bye. That's fine as well. Catch you later. Okay, see you. Catch you later. All right, bye. One of those kind of parting expressions is nice to use here. Okay, so those are 10 everyday expressions and a little bit of the grammar and pronunciation included in these expressions and some sample responses. So try to listen for these and try to practice a more natural pronunciation here. So try to work on connecting the words that we talked about here. Try to work on making those reduced sounds and listening for the reduced sounds as well, because they sound quite different from the way they look on the page and the way that they are presented sometimes in lessons as well. So try to work on these sounds. All right, but that's all I want to introduce for this lesson. If you liked the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or if you want to try to use an expression or maybe introduce a different response, please feel free to do so in the comment section. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good study resources. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I'll see you again soon. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about some uses of the word yet. In this lesson, I'm going to introduce 4 different ways you can use the word yet. I'm going to talk a little bit about the different positions yet can take in a sentence, and I'm going to share some examples of how to use it. So let's begin. Okay. The first use of yet that I want to explain is one that maybe many of you already know about. This is the use of yet, which means like up to now or so far, and something that we use when we want to express an expectation that an action is going to happen in the future. So up to now, the action has not happened. However, we expect that in the future, the action is going to happen. So in these cases, we commonly see the word yet at the end of a clause or at the end of a sentence. We can, however, see it before an infinitive. I'll explain this in a little bit. Let's start here. Let's look at some examples using yet at the end of the sentence. This is a very common position for yet. First one, he hasn't done his homework yet. Here we see yet at the end of the sentence. He hasn't done his homework yet. So here we're using the negative form of a present perfect tense sentence. So he hasn't done, he has not done his homework yet, meaning up until now, he has not finished, he hasn't done his homework, but we expect he's going to do his homework. Let's look at one more sentence. I haven't sent the files yet. So here again, Yet is at the end of the sentence, and in this case the subject is I, so I've changed this to have not. In this sentence, my first one, I had has not because the subject was he. Here I have the same present perfect tense used. I haven't sent the files yet, but I expect I'm going to send the files in the future. So yet shows there's some expectation about future action. So this action is going to happen in the future. Okay, let's look at this point that I mentioned earlier. You can use yet before an infinitive. So remember, an infinitive is the to form of the verb, like to find or to look or to send, to form. So we can use yet before the infinitive form of a verb to mean the same thing. There's an expectation the action is going to happen in the future, but the action has not happened yet. So here again, I have yet to call him back. You'll notice this sentence is positive. Up here we're using negatives, yeah? Here it's a positive. So in this case, the subject is I have yet, and then here is the simple infinitive form. I have yet to call him back, but I'm going to call him. So we could use this pattern here, meaning I haven't called him back yet. These two would mean the same thing. I haven't called him back yet, and I have yet to call him back really mean the same thing. We're making a positive sentence here or a negative sentence with this pattern. Let's look at one more example. They have yet to contact us. So again, they have yet, and then the infinitive form. To contact, in this case, is the infinitive form of the verb. They have yet to contact us, but we expect they're going to contact us in the future. One more example of this. Here, my subject is she. So she, here I've used has. She has yet to arrive. She has yet to arrive is my infinitive form of the verb. She has yet to arrive, meaning she hasn't arrived yet, to use this pattern, but we expect she is going to arrive in the future. So there are these two positions for the word yet in these sentences of expectation. We can also use this to make questions. Up here, this is a question of confirmation. So you haven't eaten lunch yet? So here we see yet is used again at the end of the sentence. You haven't eaten lunch yet? So this person is surprised that the other person has not eaten lunch. They are looking to confirm. They want to confirm the other person has not eaten lunch. They're surprised. You haven't eaten lunch yet? Here's a simple information question. Has she finished work yet? Has she finished work yet? So again, we see yet at the end of the sentence here. So we can also use yet to make questions, to get information. Okay, so let's move along to the second meaning, the second use of yet that I want to look at for today. This use refers to a continuing state. So let's first look at some examples and then I'll explain this visual here. First example, we have a way to go yet. So here, yet is at the end of my sentence, yes. Here I have away. So away means like a distance, maybe a long way, a long road. There are many things to do, maybe things that we need to take care of. Maybe I'm traveling somewhere, away. So this is one example. Second example, there is work to do yet. So again here, yet is at the end of the sentence. So both of these examples refer to a continuing state. So here we're seeing there is some action that has been happening, some action that has been continuing. I marked it with the red line here. In this case, there's work to do yet. So in this case, my second example, the people involved in this have been working, and the speaker is saying this sentence right now at this point here. Work to do yet. So again, with that kind of expectation feeling, meaning in the future, there is still something that needs to happen. There is still work that needs to be done. So, meaning this state has continued and it's going to continue into the future. Same thing here. We have a way to go yet. So we've been traveling. the speaker makes the statement here to say there's still more traveling to do. We have a way to go yet. So this has kind of the feeling of still. We still have a way to go. There's still work to do is a different way of saying these expressions. Okay, let's move along to the third use of yet I want to describe for today. This is using yet as a conjunction. So remember, conjunctions are used to connect ideas. In this case, yet means but or however. So you'll often see this used as and yet, but actually we don't really need to use and because yet is connecting the ideas. So you might see a lot of people, a lot of sentences using and yet to act as sort of two conjunctions together, but really yet is fine on its own. So let's look at some examples of using yet as a conjunction, which means but or however. First one, we have so much to do, yet we have so little time. So here we're presenting two ideas. We have so much to do is part A. Part B, maybe, we have so little time, not a lot of time. So think of this yet as but or however. We have so much to do, but we have so little time to do it. So A, yet B, A, but B, A, however, B. This is the use of yet here as a conjunction. Let's look at one more example then. He contacted me about the meeting, yet forgot to send me the documents. So here's one part of the sentence, one part of the situation. He contacted me about the meeting. Okay. Yet, in this case, I've dropped he. He forgot to send me the documents. I've dropped he here, but he forgot to send me the documents is the second part. So he contacted me, but he forgot to send me the documents. I've used yet here instead of but. So we can use yet to connect ideas, to act as a conjunction in this case. All right, let's look at the last use for this lesson over here, number 4. We can use yet as an emphasis word. So this is often placed before a word like again or another. So we're emphasizing that something has happened again, or we're emphasizing another instance of something. Let's look at some examples here. He forgot his keys yet again. So here, yet is placed before the word again. So if we don't use yet, he forgot his keys again. Yes, it's a strong statement, maybe like a criticism. He always forgets his keys. But this phrase is a little more strong, a little more critical. So he forgot his keys yet again. It sounds like this is a very common thing for him, and maybe it's irritating to the speaker. Let's look at one more example. Today, I received yet another angry message from a customer. So here, I said I received yet another angry message. So here, I'm talking about angry messages. So meaning, I got yet another. It's emphasizing how many angry messages the speaker receives from customers. So again, if we don't use yet, today I received another angry message from a customer. It doesn't have the same strength. It doesn't have the same seriousness as using yet. Today I received yet another angry message. It sounds much stronger. So please remember, you can use yet. In these cases, I've used it with again and another, but you can use these for emphasis, these expressions. So give these a try as well. Okay, so those are 4 ways to use the word yet in many different situations. So I hope that this was useful for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to let us know in the comment section of this video. If you like the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good stuff. Thanks very much for watching this episode, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Monthly Review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, study tools, and resources. By the way, all the lessons and bonuses you're about to see can be downloaded for free on our website. So click the link in the description right now to sign up for your free lifetime account. Okay, today's topic is your first steps to learning a language, the Fundamentals Welcome Pack. Is there a best way to learn a language?
Many learners waste time trying to find the perfect resource, but never stick with anyone long enough to make progress because there's always a new, shinier app. But resources aside, is there a best way to learn a language? Well, there is. Keep watching this month's episode. You'll discover why you'll learn faster by starting with the fundamentals, the trunk-based knowledge approach to learning, how to get our free welcome pack, and much more. But first, if you're looking for new free language resources and downloads, here are this month's new lessons and resources. Be sure to download these now before we take them down in a few days. First, the 24-hour Survival Phrases PDF cheat sheet. Traveling and want to learn enough of the language to survive? Then these survival phrases will help you get by in the first 24 hours. Second, the How Are You and How to Answer It writing workbook. With this printable PDF, you'll learn all the ways to ask and answer the question, how are you? And you'll be able to practice your writing skills as well. Download it for free right now. Third, 30 music words for beginners. Learn how to say song, lyrics, melody, and much more with this quick 1-minute lesson. Fourth, can you talk about roads in your target language? Learn how to say road, highway, crosswalk, and much more with this quick vocab bonus. And fifth, must-know Father's Day vocabulary. Can you say Father's Day in your target language? You'll be able to with this quick 1-minute vocabulary lesson. To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. Your first steps to learning a language, the Fundamentals Welcome Pack. So, is there a best way to learn a language? You can download a shiny app and start learning words on day 1. But is that the right way to learn the language? Well, if you want to just know words, sure, that works. But if you want to learn a language from the ground up, understand how it works, be able to create your own sentences, and speak freely, you'll quickly realize that just learning words doesn't help you do that. What you need is not the next shiniest app, but to start with the fundamentals. Part 1. Why starting with the fundamentals is the best way to learn. What are the fundamentals of languages? Fundamentals are the alphabet, pronunciation, beginner-level grammar rules, and core words and phrases. And this, starting from the fundamentals, is also something called trunk-based knowledge. If you imagine a tree, it starts from the roots to the trunk and to the branches and then the leaves. And the leaves are the details, the words and phrases. And the roots and trunk are the foundation of it all. If you focus on the leaves or learning just the words and phrases, you may get to know some of the language and be able to say some things, but you'll struggle with coming up with your own sentences and speaking freely. And if you've learned like that for a bit, you'll soon realize you don't actually understand the language and need to backtrack and start over. But if you start with the roots and trunk, the fundamentals, you learn to read, the pronunciation, the grammar rules, then everything else you learn later on is built on top of these fundamentals and will make mastering the language easier than the other way around. For example, if you learn the alphabet, then writing, reading, and pronunciation become attainable. And with the proper pronunciation, you can start speaking. Skip it and you'll get nowhere. So starting with the fundamentals is the best way to start learning a language, or anything. Now, you may wonder, isn't this obvious? If you're learning in class where a teacher took the time to plan out the curriculum, it is obvious and it's done for you. But if you're learning on your own, it's not. And if you're using an app or watching videos that weren't designed to teach you the right way, you're starting off on the wrong foot. Starting with the foundation is also, in a way, the faster way to learn a language, simply because it saves you the extra time of backtracking to relearn the basics that you missed. So how do you start with the basics? Let's get into the second part. Part 2. How to learn the basics with our free welcome pack. Anytime you attempt to learn something new, your very first step should be to ask, what are the must-know basics? If you're learning in a class with a teacher who planned out the curriculum for you, it's all done for you. But if you're learning alone, as is the case with many language learners, and if you don't know the right way to approach learning, then it won't be as obvious. You might download an app or start watching YouTube videos, and you'll quickly find yourself struggling to understand how the language works, how the conjugations work, how to create your own sentences, and what's right or wrong. You'll always feel like you're missing something. And that's exactly why we created the Fundamentals Welcome Pack, which you can get for free. Keep watching till the end to find out how. The Welcome Pack is a pack of PDF cheat sheets covering the fundamentals: alphabet, beginner grammar, conversational patterns, words, phrases, and culture. You can also start learning with our recommended learning pathway, but be sure to use this Welcome Pack at the same time. And here's how. For the alphabet cheat sheet, you should spend the first 2 or 3 days practicing writing out the alphabet for 10 or 20 minutes a day or so. If your target language uses a non-Roman alphabet, then it may take you longer. For example, with Japanese, most language classes spend up to a week on the hiragana and katakana. Next, you'll find the core words and core phrases cheat sheets. These are all the words and phrases that a beginner must know. Just spend a few minutes a day reading and saying these words out loud. You can also practice writing them out, which will reinforce the alphabet as well. Remember, you don't have to memorize all the words all at once, because you'll see these words again and again later when you're taking our lessons. Then there's the grammar cheat sheet that will teach you simple grammar patterns. Copy out the sample sentences and try to create your own sentences as well. With the conversational phrases cheat sheet, you'll learn some common questions and all the possible ways to answer them in the target language. And these phrases will use the same grammar patterns that you learned earlier. If you want to download our Welcome Pack, just click the link in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account. So thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about the power of a teacher and the difference a teacher can make as you work toward achieving your speaking goals. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way, and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye! Learning a language can be tough because there's just so much to do. There's grammar, reading, speaking, writing, and so on. But there is a way to learn and practice all 7 skills of a language in one shot without overwhelming yourself, and without having to split your attention across tons of books, apps, and programs. How to master the 7 language skills in one shot without overwhelming yourself. How? In this guide, you'll discover 1. The 7 language skills, 2. Why you don't have to learn each skill one at a time, and 3. How to pick up each skill effortlessly if you follow our specially designed learning pathway. But first, if you don't yet have access to our language program, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description. First, so what are the 7 language skills? They are speaking, listening, reading, writing, grammar, vocabulary, and culture. But that's a lot to learn all at once. Plus, resources cover only 1 or 2 skills at a time. And that's why you'll see learners who are good at reading or translating words, but not so good at speaking and listening. So, second, how can you learn and practice all 7 skills without overwhelming yourself? With our learning program, it's just a matter of taking a quick 5 or 10-minute lesson. When you sign up, you'll automatically get a learning pathway of lessons to follow. Just play a lesson and you'll hear a quick practical conversation. Then our teachers slow it down and explain all the words, grammar rules, and cultural nuances inside. So already, you're improving your listening skills and learning vocabulary, grammar, and culture. And if you shadow or repeat what you hear, you start speaking as well. You can also read along with the transcript while you're taking the lesson, which means you're practicing reading. So you've already covered 6 of the 7 skills with one quick lesson, which took you just a few minutes. Once you're done with the lesson, if you want more practice, you can review the conversation 1 line at a time with the dialogue tool, which helps with listening and reading. Practice speaking the lines from the conversation with the voice recording tool. Review the grammar, cultural notes, and vocabulary with the lesson notes. And you can send the lesson vocabulary to your word bank or flashcards to drill them later. To practice writing, just leave a comment in the comments section and our teachers will respond to you with feedback. You can write out the lesson dialogue and vocabulary into a personal notebook. And if you're a Premium Plus user, you can practice writing with the help of your teacher. Now, after every few lessons, you'll get multiple choice assessments, which test you on listening, reading, grammar, and vocabulary, and hand-graded assessments, which test you on speaking and writing. And the goal of these assessments is to test you on what you've learned in the last few lessons, so that you can practice the language and so you don't forget what you've learned. So, if you just follow the learning pathway and take the lessons, you can easily learn and practice all 7 language skills. But first, if you don't yet have access to our language program, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description. If you want to successfully learn a language, then it's all about time. The amount of time you spend learning and exposing yourself in the language. And the more you expose yourself to the language, the better the words, phrases, and grammar rules you learned will stick, simply because you get used to them. And for that, you need a ton of lessons and a ton of exposure. The good news? You get just that with our lesson library inside of our learning system. How to learn tons of language and boost your exposure with the lesson library. And in this quick guide, you'll learn all about it, how to level up your language and boost your exposure. But first, if you don't yet have access to our language learning system, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to get your free lifetime account. 1. So, what's the lesson library? The lesson library is our collection of learning pathways, all made by real teachers, from absolute beginner level all the way up to the advanced level. There are hundreds and hundreds of lessons inside, including our 3-minute series, top 25 questions you need to know, conversational phrases video series, and more, giving you all the lessons you need to learn and master the language. And if that sounds like too much, don't worry. 2. Here's how you level up your language with our lesson library. When you join, you instantly get a recommended pathway of lessons, so you have a clear pathway of lessons to follow. Instead of wondering where to start, just look for the recommended pathway on your dashboard and at the top of the lesson library. The Level 1 pathway is for absolute beginners. Level 2 is for beginners, and you can go all the way up to Level 5, the advanced level. So if you follow the recommended pathways, you can take your language from 0 to speaking and understanding advanced conversations. 3. You can customize your learning to boost your exposure. If you want to take on other lessons on top of the recommended ones, just visit the lesson library, scroll through the pathways available for your level, and add the ones you like to your dashboard. 4. You can master speaking, reading, writing, and listening. Just sort the pathways by skill via the side menu inside the lesson library, and find the pathway that's right for you. So, if you want to learn the language the fast, fun, and easy way with our quick audio and video lessons and get full access to hundreds and hundreds of lessons, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to get your free lifetime account. If you're tired of knowing and speaking the language at a basic level and want to express yourself fluently just like native speakers, then you'll need to learn grammar. The problem? It can be tricky to learn. But don't worry, in this guide you'll discover how to learn and master grammar with the Grammar Bank. 1. Where to get all of the grammar explanations you'll ever need. 2. The best way to learn grammar that's right for your level. And 3. How to expose yourself to real examples until the rules become natural to you with a study tool called the Grammar Bank inside of our learning program. But first, if you don't yet have access to our program, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description. First, what is the Grammar Bank? The Grammar Bank is like a grammar dictionary, except online. It's a database of the must-know grammar rules and explanations that makes it easy to look up specific rules and learn them. Look for it in the top menu of our site. 2. How do you learn grammar with it? The best way to learn grammar is not to just study rules, but to learn in context and hear the grammar used in real life. And that's exactly how you learn with our lessons. You learn a quick conversation and hear how the grammar rules are used within that conversation. 3. What if you come across grammar that you're not familiar with? Or what if you want to review a specific rule without going back to redo a lesson? That's where the Grammar Bank comes in. You can look up grammar rules and get the explanations, examples, and links to lessons where we cover these rules. You can also sort grammar by learning level. So if you're an absolute beginner and want to make sure you know all of the absolute beginner grammar rules, you can do just that with the Grammar Bank. You can also sort the rules by spelling, category, and lesson series. And if you want to get used to the grammar patterns so that you can use them in conversation and become fluent, The best way is to expose yourself to examples as much as possible. Grammar is hard at first, but gets easy once you get used to it with enough exposure. Be sure to access the related lessons inside the grammar bank and listen to the native conversations that use the rule as much as possible. So, if you want to become fluent and speak perfectly, you'll need grammar. Take advantage of the grammar bank inside of our learning program. But if you don't yet have access, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to sign up. Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.